Okay, council, call this meeting to order, our regular council meeting for Tuesday, February the 17th. I will ask the clerk to do roll call, please.
Okay, Mayor Klopp.
Present.
Deputy Mayor Becker.
Present.
Councillor Sangster.
Present.
Councillor Harris.
Present.
Councillor Hessel.
Present.
Councillor Walden.
Present.
And Councillor Whetstone.
Okay,
Present.
we have quorum, thank you. Disclosure of pecuniary interest for this meeting. Anyone at this time? Seeing none, again, if something comes up, just notify the clerk. Approval of agenda as printed. Is there anyone wishing to add anything? If not, I need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Sangster. Deputy Mayor, seconds. All those in favor of agenda as printed? Anybody opposed? Motion carries. We're at 4 delegations and presentations. 4.1 IC&I Recycling Services. Michelle Courtney is here from Blue Water Recycling Association. Please come up and introduce yourself. And proceed when you're ready.
Okay. So I'm Michelle Courtney. I'm the new president and CEO of Blue Water Recycling. So it's a pleasure to be here and meet all of you. Dave had asked me just to come to give you a presentation on the IC&I collection and the changes. And I just kind of wanted to start with a brief overview of the Blue Box program and where we came from and how we got to kind of where we are today. So if we go to the first slide. So before 2021, BRA was actually established in 1989, and we have been fundamentally operated by the municipalities, but funded what was supposed to be 50% by the producers. Every year we got a grant by what was from WDO, which became RIPRA, based on our data call of information, but it ended up being always about 40% of the recycling cost, and the municipalities were on the hook for the remainder. In 2020, amidst all of the pandemic, it became obvious that the cost was going astronomical, excuse me. One thing due to the spring cleaning that everyone was doing because they couldn't come out of their house and doing all of the wish cycling, things they wished were recyclable, but really weren't part of our printed paper and packaging that was acceptable in the program. And the other part was the actual packaging itself. The producers have made packaging much more complicated. And for the average household, they don't know what is acceptable, what is actually recyclable, and what is made of recycling products. And it became much more expensive for our material recovery facility and for the actual processing of the material. So that brought us to 2021, when the municipalities demanded that the province do something and make the actual producers of the product more responsible for the recycling. So on June 3rd of 2021, Ontario passed the new law of the Blue Box regulation as part of the Resource Recovery and Circular Economy Act. And part of that was the first time they introduced what they called extender producer responsibility, or EPR, which really means the producers or the producers of the product or the sellers of the product are responsible solely for the cost of the recycling. And so that brings the food manufacturers and your beverage brands responsible for paying for the collection, the processing, and the sorting of the recycling. They tried to make a smooth transition over 3 years from 2023 to 2025 and had everyone municipalities choose to go gradually between those 3 years. And then it really brought about new organizations. So what they call PROs, producer responsibility organizations. And these are not-for-profit organizations that house all the individual producers, and they are responsible for regulating the actual collection system and are inevitably the ones who hire us to collect the recycling now. So through the transition years, started in July of 2023, that was the first part of the transition for municipalities, and really the first part of us negotiating our contracts with the producers. All of our municipalities transitioned to EPR, or extended producer responsibility, in April 1st of 2024. I think for the average household, it went pretty smoothly. No one really noticed any difference because the collection frequency, the collection day, nothing changed. We still collected with the same trucks, still co-collecting with waste and recycling. For you as a municipality, you noticed in Q2 of 2024, your residential recycling costs fell off your books and we were paid from producers. Administratively for us, it became there's a lot more paperwork and documentation required. So we actually added an additional admin staff to do all of that work for stuff that we were already currently doing before, but having to show more work that we were doing. But otherwise, everything went fairly seamlessly. Key amendments that we have seen at the end of 2025. So on October 4th of 2025, Ontario did publish final amendments to the Blue Box Reg. And the four important ones were they extended the recovery timelines. So the producers are required to recover targets for core materials, but they deferred those increase in targets until 2032. They phased in the flexible plastics target, only starting at 10% in 2026 and gradually increasing to 25% by 2032. And one that affects you directly would be that they removed the requirement for extended public space bins. So originally in the regulation, anywhere that has waste collected, like a park or a ball diamond or your main street, would be required to have blue box collection paid for by the producers. However, they removed that from the regulation entirely, and it's no longer required to have any expanded public space bins. And the last one was the energy recovery option. So the producers can meet 15% of their obligation by recovery of energy through incineration. So that brings us to January 1st of 2026. So really for our residential side, again, I don't think households really noticed much of a difference. The significant difference was our expanded box of materials, and that's a standardized box of materials province-wide. And so it was significantly more acceptable material than what they had seen prior when we were receiving and processing the material. Now that brings us to the IC&I. So what about our IC&I properties? So by definition, IC&I are industrial, commercial, and institutional properties. This includes business offices, retail stores, restaurants, places of worship, and daycares. Now, under the new provincial regulation, IC&I properties are explicitly excluded from the Blue Box Recycling Collection Services. Recycling services for IC&I property is no longer provided through the provincial EPR program. So what does that impact on our local businesses? It means they have separate curbside recycling collection. Residential and commercial material is not allowed to be commingled in the same truck, meaning we had to create separate IC&I routes. And to be the most cost effective, we moved everyone to a bi-weekly collection. So the action items for commercial property is to ensure that their commercial recycling goes in a red lid wheelie bin, sorry. They understand their new recycling collection schedule. And they explore the option of collaborating with neighborhood businesses on maybe sharing wheelie bins or a dumpster to make the process more efficient. And what did this mean? Why did the notification come so late? Well, just as we were finalizing our program for 2026, on June 4th of 2025, the Ontario proposed amendments to the Blue Box regulation, which included requiring the pros to make an offer to allow co-collection of commercial and residential material. As soon as this happened, we began lobbying to our provincial and local governments to explore this as an opportunity, as there was lots of inefficiencies with the segregated system. However, it took them 4 months to finalize, and finally on October 1st of 2025, the Minister of the Environment sent out a letter stating that the pros will not voluntarily continue to offer this service to municipalities, even the municipalities who are willing to pay for it as they had during transition. They identified challenges to providing small IC&I collection that would make it impractical and unaffordable for most municipalities and potentially disruptive for the residential collection run by the producers. So that gave us 3 months, October to December, to have the program ready and up and running. So we started with completing the new IC&I routes and what they looked like, procuring the new red lids, hiring IC&I drivers, creating the education and the promotion and education material, and then inevitably sending out our teams to change the lids and discuss this new program with all the commercial properties. One other question we've had is how did we determine the biweekly collection? So this wasn't a decision we took lightly. We first started by looking at our current collection analysis. We thoroughly examined existing collection patterns and frequencies for IC&I properties to establish a baseline of typical service needs. We analyzed the historical bin lift data revealed that many IC&I bins are not consistently full upon collection, indicating a potential over-frequent service. We did a detailed review of material volume and weight in IC&I bins, confirmed that biweekly collection aligns with the average generation rates without compromising capacity requirements. And we considered the extensive geographical area with scattered IC&I bins and determined that biweekly collection significantly optimizes the truck routes, reducing travel time and fuel consumption. Therefore, biweekly collection allows us to consolidate pickups, thereby optimizing truck routes, maximizing drivers' time, and reducing our environmental impact, all while maintaining adequate service capacity and quantity for IC&I members. Now, I do realize that this is the average generator, and there will be some that do require more bins, and we're happy to deliver more bins free of a service charge if any commercial residents require more bins. So key points for IC&I recycling is that their other services haven't changed. Garbage continues to be collected the same time as and same way it always was. Quality still matters. All of our commercial properties continue with our old acceptables list, the acceptables list we had prior to January 31st, 2025. And to allow us to keep as efficient as possible, we need to reduce contamination and proper sorting requirements there. And then some exemptions apply. So schools and some not-for-profit long-term care homes still remain eligible for recycling. And so where's our path forward? So for now, BRA will be absorbing or will be maintaining the cost of collecting IC&I properties at the 2025 rate plus CPI. However, we are currently absorbing significant operational costs due to the inefficiencies of these new routes, that they involve long distance for traveling and very minimal tonnage. We are actively optimizing our IC&I routes, and our plan is to inform municipalities of the true cost of collecting IC&I bins by the end of March. Preliminary analysis indicates that the current rate of $71.40 per bin is projected to double or even triple in 2027. So once municipalities are presented with this revised cost projections, we request that a decision on how to proceed be made by June of 2026. In theory, municipalities really have three primary options: continue with your current arrangement and absorb the increased cost, increase the charge to the commercial properties to cover the cost invoiced by BRA, or decide to discontinue collection for IC&I services. We would recommend option 2, directly charging commercial properties for their recycling costs. We believe residential user fees should not subsidize commercial recycling expenses, and commercial properties should be charged accordingly. This approach will also incentivize commercial properties to accurately assess their bin requirements and consider more cost-effective solutions, such as recycling dumpsters, depending on the material quantities they have. The June 2026 deadline has been chosen to align with the upcoming municipal election. It also allows BRA sufficient time to conduct outreach to commercial properties in the cases where municipalities opt to discontinue collection, or where it might be cost effective for the commercial entity to utilize dumpsters instead of the current number of wheelie bins in their possession. So lastly, this is just for our future. So we will continue to be your solid waste department and provide insights into the best practices and the ever-evolving regulatory changes. We will advocate to you for the most efficient system, both to local and provincial governments. And we're willing to continue to collaborate to find outcomes to these challenges, whichever ways that you may come up with and you want to chat about. So that's all I have for now, but if you have questions, I'm willing to answer.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Councillor Saul.
Yeah, thanks. A lot of information in there. So I know I've missed some of it, so I'm going to kind of backtrack a little bit and ask a few questions here. I tried to keep up, and I'm glad the presentation was there too. So from an ICI perspective, so is the producer still paying under that ICI?
No, they only pay for the residential collection.
They only pay for the residents. So nobody is actually
Well, you are
Yeah,
inevitably.
exactly. So the whole intention of this was to get the producers. I remember going to a conference years ago on this whole thing. It was to get the producers. This was the big kick, to get the producers to start paying for this kind of thing. So at the end of the day, it's come back and although I understand your option when you're saying number two, and I'm not here to debate, by the way,
Yep.
you know,
That's
that's what they don't get, like I look at retail shops. They don't have a choice on how Amazon is going to ship or what they're going to ship in. Amazon just ships because they don't care, right? So the whole point was to get the producers to care. All this is doing is downloading this onto the retail shops instead, which it's a complete waste, not your problem. This is a complete waste, no pun intended, of what was originally started 5 years ago or more years ago on this. Like this baffles me that we're actually here today, to be quite honest. All it's done is created more cost, more time to municipalities. And we either, as the options there, it's either somebody's absorbs the cost or we charge them more is really what it comes down to. Oh, it's just, yeah, that baffles me. But thank you for the information. I thought this is where we were. Now I've confirmed where we're at, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, and I couldn't agree with you more. I think the Minister of the Environment has missed the small towns. They're looking at the big box stores, the Walmarts, the Sobeys, and so they're part of the producers and they think they should take on the cost, but they're missing the small IC&I portion and realizing that it's very inefficient the way it is.
I totally agree with that because the big box stores have some clout with who they buy product from and how they get that packaged and how it's coming, all that. But, you know, small town Canada is going to be hurt fairly hard on this. The economies aren't great to start with for businesses. Now you're adding one more potential cost to them on top of this again too. I mean, I look at downtown when I go downtown and I see delivery days for either the restaurants and I see them for say Archie's and there's bins out there that are just chock full of cardboard boxes. And I agree, we need to try to be able to reduce how much recycling we're putting into it. But those people that are delivering don't care about our restaurants, don't care about our Archie's, those type of things, right? Because you want the product or not is what it's come down to. Yeah, I at one point in time, I am going to suggest, I'll wait till everybody else has a say and then I'll talk something else.
Okay, any other comments? Or Councillor Hessel?
Yeah, I'll just make a couple comments. One specifically, I'm a business owner, so you're gonna hit me, right? Not you, but this policy is gonna hurt one way or another. And the intent initially is that the suppliers or producers would pay. And then it was gonna go down the ranks and I would still pay, but I probably pay when I bought my product. So it kind of trickle that way. Whereas now I'm still paying and like in the world I live in, and actually a lot of people around the table, beef isn't getting cheaper, pork isn't getting cheaper, vegetables isn't getting cheaper, nothing's getting cheaper. Like I've literally seen a 7% increase across my produce alone. Right? So like world is not getting cheaper and I can't ask more out of my customer either if I want to keep them. And that's just what it boils down to. So it is going to be a threshold. You know, we all as business owners work hard to do what we can do at the same time. And I'm not going to advocate specifically 2 or 1 or 3, like the 3 different options, but I would say I don't know how you do it, but I think, I guess I would say is it may not affect me as much because I'll try to budget it the best I can, but I know there's going to be some people you will lose. And you will lose businesses in your community. And it may only be because the $73, but I can tell you right now that $73 goes a long way. And if it's going to get tripled in 3 years, that's not 73 anymore. That's 110 or 210, you know, like, so you're going to be hitting that person. And, you know, I struggle with it because the environment's not getting easier for small town business.
Okay, any other comments? Well, go ahead, Scott.
No, he said no offense, but I agree. Like it's a regulation that's been put on us. It's not something that we advocated to the government to not do this. It's very inefficient on my side to run a truck to get 500 kgs of material. It doesn't make any sense. But it's required, and so we have to listen to the regulation right now. It was in the amendment put in that the pros can provide an offer, and I am part of advocacy groups with Waste to Resource Ontario that is still advocating to the government to require them to do that. And as soon as they do, we would switch in a heartbeat because it makes more sense for you and it makes more sense for us. But right now, we're not allowed.
Go ahead. Is our representative?
Yeah, firstly, thank you, Michelle, for coming out tonight. So yeah, since the red lids came into place, I've been actively kind of trying to watch every time I see them to see how, like, if they were over full or what was kind of in them. I actually stopped at a couple just to kind of have a peek. It's cardboard. A lot of it is cardboard. And the province is laying down the fact that we have to separate cardboard from cardboard because it comes from a different spot. Maybe I'm wrong, but a lot of it's cardboard. So yeah, I understand what my two colleagues are talking about. It's unfortunate, and I will have a motion at the end once everybody has their piece. Delegations are delegations, and we have to take it for information and then possibly get a report back. So,
Okay, that dovetailed in. Any other comments? Okay, go ahead. Yeah, well,
So, thanks for letting me breathe for a little bit there, because then I came up with something else. So the cost of the red bins actually goes back to whoever the red bin is actually in front of there. So, and the cost of recycling as well too. So nonprofit organizations now are also included in having additional costs and paying for any of their recycling above and beyond what they used to, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. And as we know in our communities, we have a ton of nonprofit organizations and volunteers that basically run our communities and run our events as well too. This could be another reason why some of our events no longer go forward, is because of the extended costs associated with this.
okay, Councillor Bailey, or Sexer.
Thank you. Just on what Councillor Harris said with the cardboard, a lot of the small businesses are buying from the same place as the resident, like Amazon. As a small business owner myself, like my packaging for my personal stuff comes in the same as my small business. And there's no difference between the two. It's Amazon packaging or it's a supplier packaging, and it's exactly the same as I would buy for myself. So it's really hard from a small business standpoint to be like, how do I differentiate cardboard from cardboard? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the products that we get are no different, and it is a lot of cardboard. What the minister, or what the producers are saying as to why they wouldn't provide it is that so all of the material that we receive right now residentially gets transferred out of our facility and goes to North Dumfries. We continue to process the ICNI material. They're saying that their material recovery facilities cannot take the increased volume of the ICNI sector, in which case that's why they can't take it. It's not actually the material that it is. I'm not saying that's the correct answer, but that's the answer that we're being given.
So I concur that obviously we have to keep lobbying the government. The industry 5 years ago stood beside the Premier of Ontario and said, get out of our way. We're gonna be good corporate citizens. And I thought this is great. And then the politics and the dollar and the finance and the lobbying. And so we got what we have now due to hard pushing, but clearly we need to do more. Councillor, you have a motion. I think this council was probably wanted to help with the voice. So if you have a motion for us, I think at this time you can maybe bring it forward, or is it come next meeting? I again look at the process here.
well, Mr. Mayor, I think we have to take every delegation for information and then possibly make a motion happen.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any further questions, comments? Thank you, Dave. Is there any, you can help us
Yeah.
with lobbying effort?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, nothing more from my side of things other than it has been wonderful to work with Michelle on this. I think she and I both are on the same page, understanding kind of the struggles that that this municipality, as well as all municipalities in our size, are dealing with on this. So I very much appreciate her conveying this information. It's been provided to council in different forms over the past number of years. It's great that she's taken the time to condense it and really make it a little bit more palatable to actually understand, because it's a lot of information for sure.
Okay, what comments that we can all echo? So at this time, a motion to receive for information. Council Harris, second by Council Hessel. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Any further for action? Okay, motion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I'd like, my motion would be for council to recommend staff bring back a report to the March 16th meeting, not only to include the opinions on the three options given by BRA, but also possible resolutions that can be made to the province in support of trying to get suppliers on board on paying for recycling,
And
similar to the residential.
I think.
Yeah. We
Okay.
can, yeah, we can discuss when the report comes back.
Yes, and probably with your help of our organization, probably have the right wording, because I think we all want to sing from the same hymn book when we're lobbying. And I see from your representative here, Michelle, but I think that motion gets this thing moving. Can you have a?
Sorry,
Smith?
Councillor Harris, can you just repeat the second portion? You were looking for suggested resolutions.
Resolutions to the province, I guess,
Maybe add working with our,
or Roma, or in Roma, either or.
well, the province, we want to deal with the province.
Province first, yeah.
Obviously, we'll use Roma. We gotta lobby the government. And do you want to add in there and with help from our staff and through our BRA?
Dave and Michelle talk frequently. I think we will get.
Understood? Yep,
Yeah.
okay. Do you have wordsmith a little bit?
Yeah, so the council directs staff to bring forward a report to the March 16th meeting, reviewing options forward as outlined in the presentation by BRA and suggested resolutions requesting support from the province.
Seconder. Clarification? Go ahead. We're only trying to help here.
I think it's important too that we actually, as we're proceeding forward with this, is that we, as part of that motion, is that we just ask Roma, what are you doing about it? And we need that information as part of that report to come forward. Are you okay with that?
Contact Roma.
Yeah, contact Roma as part of that.
Bring back.
Yeah. We have our leads already. We know who to contact, so.
I'm okay with that, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was the in-staff reach out to Roma to seek information on.
To seek information on their opinion or whatever they're
On the
doing.
actions that they're
Lobbying
doing.
efforts.
Lobbying efforts. There you go. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Conjunction
Yep.
with our BRA.
So we'll bring back a report to the March 16th meeting, reviewing the options outlined in the presentation and suggested resolutions requesting support from the province. And we'll reach out to Roma to seek information on their lobbying efforts.
Okay. Anybody clear in the motion? Ready to call the motion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Michelle, thank you.
Yep, and happy to
And,
work with Dave for sure, so.
We all knew Francis for a long time. As I said to you earlier, I'm hearing good things and you seem to be taking it by the horn here and working, and look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you. Nice
Take
to meet
care.
everybody.
Okay, we're now at 5 consent agenda, 5.1 through to 5.10. Is there anyone wish to bring anything up for discussion? If not, I need a motion to receive the consent agenda for information. We can Counselor Harris, seconded by Counselor Hessel. Receive for 5.1 through to 5.10 for information. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. We are now a correspondence for action, and this is a CKNX request for support. Counselors, you've seen this here. I had a phone call, so I said I'd bring it up to council for discussion. Okay, it's been moved by Deputy Mayor, Counselor Walden. Any discussion on this? I guess it's a sign of the times, FM, and even my tractor is FM now, so all good. All those in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carries. Facilities, recreation program and day camps, refunds, transfers, and credit policy. 7.11. Is when, can't hear anything further to comment. There's a recommendation here. Right, seconder. Counselor Hessel. Any discussion? Go ahead.
So policies are usually created because there's issues in the past. Is this the case here?
Thank you. Through you, Your Worship. So this policy outlines how we administer refunds, transfers, and account credits just with our recreation programs and day camps. A policy was originally passed by council in 2024. When we were reviewing that policy, it was referencing some fees that have been updated in our fees and charges bylaw. So we had to do some general housekeeping to fix that. But we also took it as an opportunity to really revamp it. We added clear definitions, we did a little bit of research to make sure we kind of aligned with best practices, just define different circumstances in which refunds and transfers would take place. So some moderate housekeeping, but we did do quite a big revamp and review of the policy.
One final comment too is, and I know it'll be great and everything's all too. My only concern is that although we have to make sure that, we have policies and that in place, our recreational programs and day camps are booming finally again over the last 2-3 years again. And I just don't want anything to make it more complicated, more harder I'd be one to actually absorb a cost if it meant that kids could actually spend time and be in day camps and those type of things. We'll do. I'm not saying that we will do that. That's not a decision of mine. That's council. I just want to make sure that we're not putting the burden on parents for this as much as possible. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I can speak to that a little bit. This, no, it really reflects what we've always done. We just made it a bit clearer on how we administer, especially day camp refunds, but it's very consistent with how most day camp programs would do that. In a lot of cases, full refunds are in not all cases, but in a lot of cases, full refunds are permitted, and especially like there wouldn't even be an administration fee if you do an account credit rather than a refund back onto your card. So it is very flexible. It really is just mostly helpful for our administration staff to have a more clear policy to help for them to be guided through the refund process.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead. Counselor.
Through you to the manager of facilities, thank you for clear direction and the programs, which were fuzzy for years and years and years and years. Thank you very much.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Ready to call the question? All those in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carries. Our second is the Zurich Arena condenser. As you know, we passed the budget last year and things are moving along here. Recommendation, are you moving, sir? Seconded by Councillor Sangster. Any discussion? Nice to see that things are showing they're not above our projected costs. That's a nice to see. Go ahead, sir.
Going forward, Mr. Mayor, whether I'm here or not in the future, I would request that council members ask about the longevity of this condenser with our new water, because Zurich water was like 2.5 to 3 times as much of the dissolved minerals prior to getting Lake Huron water supply. So this condenser should theoretically last at least twice as long. We will see if that happens.
I think that's a good point. I know in our discussions, we talked about that, as one of the reasons to go with water in Zurich, that there would be some cost benefit, clearly. If our facilities manager has a comment right now, if not, maybe she can give us that, get that on the record shortly.
Yeah, through you, your worship, we did, just in our recent, condenser inspections, like the wear and tear is quite evident, especially when we compared it to the Hensel Arena condenser. So, yeah, they were quite pleased to also hear that we've switched over, or, yeah, it does make a big difference. We have noticed that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There are genuine dollars involved here that we might not see, and it matters. Thank you.
Yes, it does. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Public Works, pickup trucks. And there's a recommendation for a tender. Is there a mover? Councillor Harris, second by Deputy Mayor. Any other comments? As you can see, again, things are a little more competitive. It's a good thing. If there's no other comments, I'm going to call the motion. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Willow Tree Wood EOI results. There's a recommendation here, mover. Councillor Hassel, Councillor Walden, or what, Stone rather. Saw your hand over there in the corner, but we'll go with this. Is there any comments? Motion?
Honestly, I look at this and I think it's great compared to what we were expecting, to be quite honest, which was nothing, I think, is what we were expecting to happen. So I think it's great what they're going to be doing with this, and it's going to be open still to others that are listed on there as required if they don't use it all up. But yeah, it's great repurposing for sure. Thanks very much for staff's time on this as well too, because we knew it wasn't going to be productive for us, by any means, but it was important to the community of Bayfield to try to use as much of this wood as possible. So,
Councillor Walden, you did have your hand up. Were you second or a comment? Okay, just wanted to make sure. No problem. All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Recommendation. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Moving right along. General Government Capital Project laptop replacement. There's a recommendation here. Councillor Walden, second by Councillor Harris.
With question, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, please.
Just Chandra, for the financial impact, just so I was reading it right, we carried over 35G from 2025 because it was supposed to be purchased in 2025. Was there money, and I'm sure it's in here, I just wasn't exactly sure, money allotted for 2026 in the budget for the same purposes? Now, are we getting both of those at the same time? Or is that going to be a waiting period as well that we're going to have to push over to 2027?
So through your worship, staff sat down and we were very harsh with the decisions that we made given the increase in costs. I'm planning right now on not doing the 2027 purchase and increasing. Usually we do a 3-year rotation with the because that's how long the warranties are. So we're trying to stretch it out where we can to 4 years. And another reason that I'm able to do that this year is because there's due to staff turnover, there's some laptops that we have just recirculated within instead of replacing. So yeah, we just made some changes and tried to make things last a little bit longer. So no, I don't plan on purchasing the 2027 lot this year.
All right, thank you.
No, good to help out, Councillor.
just the thought, and I'm sure we've looked at this and maybe we've talked about it before as well too, is that even though other municipalities may use a different laptop, is there opportunity maybe in the future to do some bulk buying to reduce costs with other, it's just specifications is all you have to go by, right? So
Bulk buying with another municipality is not something that I've looked into yet. So
We have, and kind of, sorry, through you, your worship, just to jump in, what we did try to do this year was use it's referenced in the report as a vendor of record. So we participate in multiple group buying groups. So we were hoping that by doing that, they've already went out to tender, secured pricing, are working with people who are ordering hundreds of laptops a year, that the pricing would be more competitive. And it was just a brutal process to go through, and local was cheaper. So, yeah, so we did try to do something a little different, just knowing how much this expense is, hoping to find some savings there, and there was not. So we have expanded too. We used to just kind of deal with one group buying group. We're working with 3 group buying groups now to see if someone can maybe get a different price, and save us some time too, from having to go to tender. So, but no luck yet.
Just Councillor Whetstone's question just sparked my interest on something. If you were to do something like that, so when you are going to tender for laptops and you're requesting additional RAM or updated software, are the companies that you're purchasing this from, are you depending on them to do all your setup for you? Like, let's say you did get into somebody who's buying 150 laptops, but the supplier's doesn't service the software that we have currently. Is that something that you would have to look into as well?
So, sorry, just to clarify, your question is how is the actual IT cost included?
If you're buying bulk hardware, is the software coming from the same company, or the software comes from the company that we're currently using?
So all of our setup is done through MicroAge.
Okay,
Um,
which is who we're buying the laptops from,
yeah, in this case, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now my mic on, was moved and seconded. We passed the motion, general government capital projects. For those who are listening, I'm sorry, didn't have it on. And then 7.32, as you can read in here, there's a recommendation and how if there's any technical questions, ask the clerk how she wrote this up. My intent was that I'm a firm believer there's 2 things that I think all council, whoever is here, should have an opportunity, and that is clearly the budget, which is a mandate. This isn't a mandate, but I really do believe that as many councillors as possible should participate in a hiring, as the CEO is your person that you is the go-between, or if we even have another term for it, as you know, we're working on that, but it's still the same process. So that's what I was as I had thought and put forward, and the clerk wrote it up as this is, and I think it covers the bases. And if there's any reasons, if you want it technical, she'll explain it to you. I need a mover and a seconder. That seconded. Seconder. Councillor Sangster. Making me work tonight. Any questions on it? If not, I'm going to call the motion. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, and thank the clerk for wordsmithing that properly. All right, finance. Section 357 write-offs for 2025. There's 2 separate motions. A mover for the first one, but of course we can ask questions for clarification. Councillor Whetstone moves, seconded by Deputy Mayor. Any questions with regarding that on her report? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. And on the second motion, Councillor Walden, seconded by Councillor Harris. Again, any questions? All right, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. We are now at councillors' announcements. Any councillors' announcements this evening? Seeing none. New business, there was none on our schedule, so or was asked for amendments. We are now asked to go into closed session for four items as printed. I need a mover and a second to go in motion in closed session. Counselor Walden, Counselor Harris seconds. And I will, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. I'll allow a 5-minute recess while we get the right people in place. Thank you. Council, we're back in session. Any business arising from in-camera meeting?
Nothing to report out.
Thank you. At this time, I'm at 11.1 bylaw, confirmatory bylaw. Counselor Nessel, Counselor Whetstone, all in favor. Any opposed? Motion carried. Adjournment. Deputy Mayor, Counselor Harris, all in favor. Motion carried. Colleagues, those who were in Zoom, and appreciate your time. Have a good, safe week, everyone, and enjoy the warmer